modern astronomers concur with the ancient Mayans. On December 21st, 2012, the Earth will be in exact alignment with the Sun and the center of the Milky Way galaxy. A galactic event that takes place only once every 25,800 years.
The Maya believed that the very meaning of life was all tied up with the movement of the constellations and the changing of the seasons.
The Aztecs and the Maya believed that history consisted of 5 ages and that each had ended in disaster before the world was reborn. The bad news is that according to their calendar, we are now living in the 5th and final age, which is due to end in December 2012.
It's like a Greek word that's called photo, that means light. And that's where they get photography and everything from, the Greek word. What photon is basically, it's talking about this here, when it speaks of, it's an energy grid that formulates when an atom turns from, you have a hydrogen atom, and it turns into what is called helium. The energy that makes that process happen, they call it the photon. And the photon, when it shows up here on the Richter scale here on Earth, they'll call it a light. And the light, they'll call it varies, because the energy diverses into, we have what we call codescent, and the gas form is incandescent. That energy that makes that light appear bright is the aiding of what they're trying to say photon is. Because even in your chart, it will tell you how the photon energy is the energy that's used for the atom to change from one to another. And that's because, remember, if you have one atom like this here, you have what you call H1. H1 burns into 2 atoms and becomes what? H2 or helium. Well, the energy that causes it to burn from this plateau to this is called the photon. And it becomes important because it's a buildup in the of all the congregation, I'm missing the word, conglomeration of what we would call planets and stars that we recognize as celestial stars as well as star constellations. And it centers around it. It absorbs all the energy around it. Now the deep part is it doesn't work on electricity, but it gives off electromagnetism. That's the energy grid that it uses to travel. Now, we're at the point now where we're in a 25,000 year period. We call it a 25 to 26 year period, and we call it an equinox. What that means is that the solar system itself is spinning around the sun. All the planets are spinning around the sun. And thus, all the planets in unison with the sun is spinning with the galaxy. And the galaxy itself is spinning with the unison of the universe. So one complete rotation marks a starting point of an era of time of 25 to 26,000 years, in which we call the equinox. Now what happens is, in that shifting, Earth gets to a point where it aligns with the sun. Now we already had the 2000 with the planet alignment. You got that already. We already had the planetary alignment. And with that, it brought us closer to the sun. And today scientists call it global warming. That's why you have all the energies of the radiation of the sun, the solar flare, the electrical storms are connecting to this planet. And it's getting it hot. And thus the polar caps are melting. Tremendous weather patterns are happening. Now, the next alignment is our sun in unison with the planet. So, our planet, moon, and sun is going to align itself. Once it aligns itself and it shifts through what we call the photon belt, that photon belt, being that it doesn't really work on electronic charges, will be looking for electrons. And it can suck up every electron on this planet. So what that means is anything that deals with electricity and connected with light, because that's the basis it works on, will suck out that, trains, planes, cars, you name it. And then the planet will be dark for 4 days, 4 to 5 days. This is what you would call the prediction of the Mayans. The Mayans, through the knowledge they gathered from Egypt, was able to talk about a 25,000 year period. And they marked it down. In so much, today they're saying that it'll happen on December 21st, 2012. but they're telling you that's the coordination with the satellites when we're going to pass through this here. And it looks exactly like this. The photons are. And when you pass through it, it's going to suck up every electron on this planet. And if it does that, all hell going to break loose. And religious people is going to call it the end of time. Some people going to call it the Antichrist. Some people just going to be tripping, talking about this is it, and it's only going to last 4 days. Now, that's the predictions they're saying. The Mayans also, they added the fact that, with the fact that this planet is wobbling, because the planet is on a 23⅓ degree on its axis, so it's wobbling. So it's doing like this, like it's hula dancing. Now, if the sun is aligned, the moon is aligned, and the earth, the one thing that keeps the earth and the moon caught up in the sun's gravitational pull is electromagnetism. And with the pulsation of electromagnetism, if I took a magnet today and I place it next to this can, the can will come close to this magnet because the powers bring it forward. The powers draws it in, right? So, imagine the intensity of electromagnetism with the alignment of your sun, the moon, and the earth, and then all that magnetism shooting out. It's going to draw things to it. So thus the Mayans were saying what it's going to draw is things of metallicism in the universe. And that becomes your meteorites, your asteroids. So they're saying that a meteorite also will come through when this period of time affects our planet. So picture it being dark as hell for 5 days with rocks hitting this bad boy. Thus they're saying that'll be the end of the world. No, 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 no. It's not the end of the world, it's the end of an era. It's the end of all the negativity that's been happening on this planet that you see every day. So it's going to wipe people out. And most of the people that they're going to wipe out are being locked together in these cities. Yalla